All right, welcome back, and I want to talk about data structures, and which includes arrays and includes the collections framework. So when you talk about data structures, you might hear that word thrown around a little bit. It's important to know what is meant when we say data structures. Data structures are all about how data is stored and accessed. So when we talk about having a program, having a database, having all kinds of memory allocations, how we handle the data structures will mean that our program can operate efficiently, effectively. We can handle any requests that the client has. We want our program to operate lean and efficient. So, so Java developers created some data structures that we can use in terms of handling all this data in our program. The first one is an array. We've already talked about an array. An array is a very basic ordering or very basic container for accessing elements using an index. It looks kind of like this, right? You have you define the size of an array. You can access the elements directly. You can iterate through that using a for loop. Pretty basic, but there are limitations that arrays have. Arrays are static. We need to define those arrays off at the very beginning. And then there are no methods, no APIs that an array has. It just has very primitive properties that we can access, like the length. When we get to the collections framework is a series of interfaces and classes that the Java guys developed, where we have methods that we can use, and we can access data dynamically. We can add elements dynamically. It came out with, I think, Java 1.6 or 1.5. and very, very powerful tools that they gave us. And so we want to be familiar with the collections framework. I'm not going to go over all of it, but I want to go over some very common ones, and we'll kind of generate our own data structure later on as well. The difference between an array and a collection is arrays are fixed size and fixed data types. Collections are dynamic in size, and you can have a diverse set of data types. Now when we use generics, which we'll just kind of use implicitly as we go along, that will actually define our data type that we're going to be working with. But in general, arrays are limited in this way. Arrays have also no properties. Again, it's not really not creating an object from a series of libraries. It's just an array. Collections actually is an entire library. And it looks kind of like this. I mean, there's a lot of classes, a lot of development that went in to enable its collections framework to happen. Again, we'll see this in action in just a moment. The ones we're going to be focusing on are the list and the set and the map. We'll be doing links, hash, tree, and so forth. We'll go through all of these ones. I want to make sure you're familiar with traversing a data structure within the collections framework. So stay tuned, and we'll get started here shortly.